Hello internet, I'm Alleycat, and we're going to skip over my absence and get straight to the Tears of the Kingdom Thanksgiving special. I'm very excited to show y'all what we're cooking up with this pumpkin. First, we're going to need to start with some buttermilk. If you have it, great. If you don't, I forgot to buy some, so I'm just going to make a substitute right now. Squeeze half a lemon into a cup of milk and let it sit for 5 minutes. In a separate bowl, we're going to add as much pepper as you can bear to grind, the rest of your oregano, the rest of your paprika, and a ginger shake of red chili, and mix it all up. I understand I didn't measure anything. It doesn't really matter for this purpose, it's just a brine. And I didn't even mention that we're making fried chicken, and you can cook up fried chicken in Tears of the Kingdom, which is incredible if you have bird meat. Back to our buttermilk mixture. Throw in an egg perfectly cracked with one hand because we're on camera. Whisk that up, throw in some salt, and it's time to brine the chicken. In a Ziploc bag, a large bowl, whatever you got, throw in your chicken pieces, your buttermilk, and about 3/4 of your spices. Squeeze out the air and massage it like you do when you get knocked down Death Mountain for the 50th time. Transfer to a fridge and let brine for a few hours or overnight. Time for the main event, our stuffed pumpkin. It felt Thanksgiving-y enough, and we're going to start with crushing and chopping up 2 cloves of garlic. Get your celery, give it a rough chop. We're also going to get our herbs ready. Today I'm using sage and rosemary. Rip them off, roll them up, and chop it up. You want to roll it up into a really tight roll so you can easily chop up the pieces. I'm going to add in a lemon peel too because I'm a little extra. Just make sure not to get any of the pith. Half a shallot too because we want us to kick the shit out of any stuffing you may ever have. Peel it, mince it, and you got a much more delicately flavored version of an onion that they use in French cooking. We also want to peel and chop up an apple. Just make sure you have a peeler that actually works, otherwise you might actually just hate yourself. The apples are going to add a nice little natural sweetness that's going to go well with our pumpkin. And now our mise en place is ready. Entering back into our pumpkin, I need to figure out a way to cut the top off this thing. The thing about this show is that you are all usually seeing me do everything for the first time, so this is a learning experience for us both. Anyway, after figuring out where I want to cut it, I'm going to make a guideline along the circumference of the pumpkin, slowly cut in, and then just send it. Now it's time to clean. This pumpkin is a dirty little boy, and I'm going to scoop and then just end up ripping the guts out and just emptying it into another bowl. This is the second time I mentioned guts on the channel, which I think is kind of funny and a little weird. Anyway, season the inside of your pumpkin too. My camera fell, but I used salt, pepper, brown sugar, garlic, and the herbs from earlier. On the stovetop, turn your pan to medium and throw in some oil. Add garlic, add celery, and add shallots first and let them sweat a bit. Once fragrant, throw in your meat of choice, or lack of, and I'm going to use ground beef here. You don't need meat for this, but I use ground beef. The apple goes in next, and I also crumbled in a stop cube for extra flavor because I'm a genius. Mix it up, let it fry off for a little, and take off the heat. In a mixing bowl, I'm going to rip up some toast into medium-ish pieces and throw in our vegetable mix. A little bit of water and an egg to bind it together. Give it a quick mix and add dried fruit of your choice. I used craisins, and I would have added dried orange if I could find it, but I could not. Shove up the vegetable mix into our pumpkin, throw it on a baking sheet with the lid, and it goes into the oven for about 40 minutes, uncovering with about 10 minutes left. While that's baking, let's set up for our fried chicken. In a bowl, throw in a cup of milk, an egg, and some Louisiana hot sauce. I again did not have Louisiana hot sauce, so I had to make do. In the other bowl, throw in salt, flour, and some Cajun seasoning because I thought it would taste good, and it did. Out of the fridge our chicken comes, and we're going to bread this using the wet hand, dry hand method. First into the flour, then the milk, then back into the flour for a nice crispy exterior. I switched hands when moving from one to the other to prevent bits getting stuck to my fingers. Repeat for all the other pieces. Back to the stovetop, heat up about an inch of canola oil, and when hot, lay the chicken facing away from you. Flip halfway. We're going to cook these for a total of about 8 minutes, so 4 on each side. You'll know it's ready to flip when it's nice and crispy, and I even touched the surface and let out a little audible sound when it was done because I thought it was incredible. Pull out onto a paper-lined tray or a plate when done. Everything's ready and plated, and it's time to eat. I mean, just look at the spread. I'm starving, so I kind of ate about 5 pieces of the chicken after this take. It was so good. That brine did wonders. I took a gigantic bite, and you can even see me do the little handshake so you know it's good. The pumpkin was super fun to make too, and I didn't realize it would pair so well with the stuffing. That was really good too. For being thrown into a world with absolutely nothing, it seems like Link seems to be eating really good, and I'm so happy for him for that.